Is the Oblivion Remastered too buggy? A lot of people are currently saying that they are experiencing a lot of issues, but even more people are saying that they're not really experiencing that many issues. Granted, pretty much everyone has experienced a crash or some similar situation to that currently, but it seems like if your PC is old, then well, you're gonna crash a lot more than expected. And it seems like if you're an idiot who's playing it on Xbox, like what's wrong with you? Why are you playing a game on something that's marketing itself as a add-on for your fridge? What the hell? Xbox is not for games. Xbox is something you put on your fridge because everything is an Xbox. But yeah, people who are playing on Xbox are not having a good time, okay? They are experiencing a lot of issues. So good luck with your life choices, I guess. If you thought that playing something on console is better than PC, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just Darwined yourself.
It's been a week since Bethesda Game Studios shadow dropped Oblivion Remastered, and we have
Not a shadow drop. The marketing was the fake leaks about this. I am 100% convinced all these insider leakers that are trustworthy sources in the community are just Microsoft and Xbox sock puppets at this point.
to talk about this launch. This game is doing a lot better than many people suspected, but at the same time, there are mounting complaints around the game. Even as some of the positive reviews are starting to roll in, some of the problems with Oblivion are showing more than ever, with many fans reporting visual bugs or even media outlets saying this game wasn't ready for release. But Bethesda has been quick to respond to all of that. Depending on platform, Oblivion has already gotten updates. It's actually a bit of a weird situation there, because certain other platforms have gotten no updates whatsoever, and we
There is no world where you are going to be better off downloading the update, okay? The last time Bethesda fixed anything was never, okay? That's their track record. They have never added a patch that people like to a game.
gotta talk about mods. What's possible, what's not, and what's coming in the future. Oblivion Remastered came out 7 days ago now, and in this past week we got a ton of data that basically forces us to acknowledge how insane of a launch this game just saw. After years of fans basically getting on their knees and begging, Bethesda has finally released a remaster of one of their games, and they did it in a super interesting way. They hired a third-party studio, used dual engines to really only have to remake the visuals of this game, and after all of that
I have no idea what part of that is supposed to be not be foreseen or interesting. Okay.
work was done, they just dropped it one day with no notice. And I think that Shadow Drop in particular really ended up benefiting Oblivion. The game eventually hit a peak of 216,000 players this Sunday on Steam, with Bethesda now reporting that 4 million people had played the remaster in its first 4 days from release. They posted this 4 million player number on Friday, while the Steam peak only hit on Sunday afternoon, which definitely makes me think the real number is now a lot closer to 5 million. And to put those
Probably.
numbers into context, Bethesda reported 6 million players for Starfield the day after its full release, which was kind of 6 days later because that game, of course, did have a early access window.
Starfield is different because the reality is Starfield was a much, much, much bigger deal, technically, because, well, it's a completely new IP, and Bethesda is literally telling you, oh yeah, Starfield, this thing you haven't played, that's not gonna be shit, wink wink. Yeah, it's gonna be literally the new big thing. It's gonna be right there next to Fallout, right there next to Elder Scrolls, and there you go. The big three: Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout. That's why Starfield's drop was way, 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 way more impactful, and had way more people on it because it was the first game Bethesda has done in a millennia, and it fucking showed.
Starfield was the biggest launch in Bethesda Game Studios history, so that means that an Oblivion remaster that was made by cheaper European labor is putting up numbers that are somewhat in conversation with Starfield. Like the game almost certainly
Cheaper European labor. I almost see it. That almost sounds like a slight, unless you're brain damaged.
cost a fraction of the amount to make, but is hitting a somewhat similar player count. They're not quite
It's not a fraction of the amount to make, okay? First of all, dipshit. It is not even close to that, okay? These companies make money by undercutting American companies to do the same job, at a lower price, but they are raking in way more money because of because of the difference between the American dollar and average American salaries and shit compared to the rest of the world. They are effectively scamming you when you're saying cheaper labor, Europe, Africa, or whatever the fuck. You're getting actually scammed. Pro tip.
On par, Starfield is definitely a bigger game, at least on release, but they're in the same ballpark. That is insane, and I honestly think a huge part of this is the shadow drop. We saw this crazy phenomenon where a game release almost went viral. It was like the internet had to drop everything and pay attention to this one for a few days. If we look back at that leaked Bethesda roadmap from 2020, they forecasted the Oblivion Remaster making $190 million in its release year. And as a nice point of comparison, Indiana Jones was forecasted to make even more.
Oh my god. Oh, Bethesda. How many Indiana Jones? Let me just Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Steam DB. Ah, my search history still remembers it. Okay. Okay. Let me share the screen right there with you right now. Okay. Okay. Huh? A 12K peak. A literal person who looked like an absolute joke. Who looked like a caricature from a Vogue fucking fairy tale with purple hair, fat, probably disabled and autistic, with 25 fucking different rainbow colored pins, told us that this game was designed for modern audiences. Yeah, this trash pile was supposed to make 230 million. That's a joke, okay? This thing probably has not. Dude, this thing is never gonna break even, okay? Indiana Jones and the Great Circle of Diarrhea is never gonna. But how much? How much did this cost? Like 60? So what? This has made how much? 6 million, maybe. This thing has maybe made 6 million at the best. Yeah, it probably even less, honestly. This thing has made less than 6 million in revenue. 6 million of revenue, not profit, not anything, just revenue. If we're lucky, okay? If we're goddamn super lucky. And they wanted 230 million, honestly? How did I miss that? That is hilariously stupid. And then you see Oblivion Remastered. Yeah, again, these companies are just all stupid. They're completely incompetent.
More at 230 million in its release year. Indiana Jones also hit 4 million players, but that wasn't reported until about 6 weeks after release.
Hits 4 million players. Where did it hit it? Nowhere. Not on Steam. That means on Game Pass. You're not making revenue with Game Pass on Steam, okay?
Technically, we don't know when Indy hit that 4 million.
I don't even know if Listen, I actually don't trust when these people give you their numbers.
But if it was in just days, I imagine we would have heard it sooner. Oblivion, we know for a
lying about things is not new, okay? And everyone who says, but what about what about the company's responsibilities against shareholders? Lying so the shareholders are happier is one of their responsibility, by the way, because the rules, if get broken, they're not actually rules that the government is gonna pursue you for. They're just they're the type of slap rules that you can pay a small fine if anything goes bad, okay? Trust me, every person who owns stock in this is happy that these companies lie about their numbers.
fact had the same number in just 4 days. And Oblivion was a shadow drop. There was no lead-up marketing and of course, no ability to pre-order. To me, it really sounds like Oblivion is outselling Indiana Jones, and we already know Indiana Jones was such a success that Lucasfilm reached out about a sequel almost immediately.
What?
So while we obviously don't have
Such a success with what? 0 players?
any hard sales data here, based off all of
Indiana Jones wasn't even the top most played game on Xbox. And honestly, again, I don't believe these 4 million players claims, okay? On Steam, it probably sold less than 100K copies. And you're telling me it's like it's a joke. I don't believe any of this. I think it's all lies.
These metrics, it really seems like Oblivion Remastered is massively overperforming right now. It's likely making more money than Bethesda forecasted, and just overall seems to be a massive hit. And I personally attribute at least part of that to the Shadow Drop. I saw so many people being so happy just to get their hands on the game, to the point where many said they weren't even going to play on Game Pass. They were going to spend the $50 to buy this at full price, because they appreciated the fact that the game was just here instantly.
That is a lie. I talked about this. We looked at this, okay? Let's look at Xbox player whatever numbers, okay? Let's see. So this is the place. Let me share the screen again. So this is the place where I go to check out Xbox MacGuffins and stuff, okay? This is their official thingamajig, or whatever you want to call it. It's from Microsoft.com, ENEU store, most played games. I don't know how they calculate most played games, but you know, it's their official thing, and if it's called most played games, well, good luck. And it makes sense. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Roblox, Minecraft, makes sense that they're in the top. Okay, then there's GTA and a bunch of other shitty games. And roughly here is number 10. Well, this is literally number 10. Apex Legends. No thank you, Susie. Fuck off. By all metrics that we have accessible, at the best case scenario, your 10th position game on the Microsoft Store for Xbox has between, best case scenario, between 3 and 10K players. Typically, probably less. That was news, 2 years ago when Xbox didn't say, yeah, everyone should go play PlayStation because we give up on gaming. So that's a thing. And look at this. Look at this. No. Look at this. Skyrim fucking edition here. No. What is this? Halo Infinite. Oh. Nope. You see? None of this is currently Oblivion Remastered. But if we click New, then we should be seeing Clair Obscur and Oblivion Remastered probably somewhere here, right? Let's check. Where is it? Oh, here we go. See, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and should be somewhere. There we go. There we go. Okay. I have been following this since the release because I wanted to establish a baseline for how this stuff actually looks. For remasters because I did not know how remasters are gonna look. Is it gonna be 500 players, 5,000 players, 50,000 players, or 500,000 players? I did not know. Now, granted, my initial thought was, well, 100K seems realistic. Turns out 2 times more. So that's now my expectation for successful games. And again, no one. The Oblivion Remaster wasn't on the most played, even top 50. It never even got there, because the reality is every single Bethesda fanboy is playing it on PC, because PC is going to be where the mods are. That's what every Bethesda game should always... You never look at a Bethesda game and say, oh, Xbox matters. It doesn't. Because all the Bethesda fans are playing it on PC because that's where the modding is. So these takes that people no. No one is playing it on Xbox. It was only this is a PC exclusive release effectively.
And you have to imagine this success means more Shadow Drops in the future, other companies taking lessons from this, more remasters for Bethesda games. Microsoft wants one of these right next to a new season of the Fallout TV show almost.
Yeah.
Certainly. And all of this went down even despite the fact that some feel like Oblivion Remastered wasn't even ready for release. In the weeks since release, Oblivion Remastered has been getting a ton of reviews, and while overall they have been great, 88% recommend it on OpenCritic while it sits at 82% positive reviews on Steam. That's one of those weird phenomena
82 is not that high, by the way.
where, yeah, Oblivion is almost universally being
That was what happened when it first released on Steam, and then it went to 90, and now it's back up. Interesting.
praised, but it's also almost universally being critiqued. The game just has performance issues. A lot of people are more than happy to push through those and continue playing though. And thankfully, Bethesda has already started to address at least some of these. Something weird is going on with the updates to Oblivion Remastered. The game has received several updates depending on which platform you're on. PlayStation and Steam users just seem to have gotten nothing so far, so there hasn't been an update one way or another, while Game Pass and Xbox have actually gotten multiple updates.
Well, yeah, because it barely runs on Xbox. Yeah, because the average Xbox player, who thankfully don't exist, is getting like 5 crashes an hour.
But at different points and even doing different things. So what's going on here? On Friday, some Oblivion players started to notice their game was updated. This happened on both Xbox and for Microsoft Store players on PC, of which the vast majority of Microsoft Store players are likely playing on Game Pass. And Microsoft Store players got a real raw deal here. This update was supposed to address some cross-save.
Of course they did, because it's Bethesda. People who have been Bethesda fans for a long time know that the community begs Bethesda to not update their games because their updates don't even work.
Issues with the Microsoft Store version of the game, but it accidentally removed the menu options for upscalers and frame generation. So you just no longer could select things like DLSS or FSR, as those choices were no longer available on your menu. And many players reported a massive FPS drop as those features were seemingly turned off now, which really sucks. You're going into the weekend, I'm sure.
Told you. I literally called this. I think last video not. I think 2 videos ago I called this, that this is gonna happen. Bethesda is a notorious shit-tier company. Again, the only new thing that they added to the Oblivion Remaster was literally body type A and body type B.
Many people just jumping into the game for the first time, and all of a sudden you just get a giant FPS cut for seemingly no reason, just a bug. But thankfully yesterday, Bethesda did restore that content in a hotfix for the Microsoft Store version, so everything should be good now. Although they do note that you may need to reselect your upscaler settings if they were disabled.
Sad,
but
very
sad. There was an
sad.
Xbox patch that just is a legit update that brought changes and improvements to performance. Xbox technically got a quick patch on day 1 to address other issues, but then on Friday, a new 1.9GB update did ship for the game, and this is bringing some noticeable performance improvements. Digital Foundry found more than 10 FPS gains in some areas of the map, and just generally improved performance on Xbox thanks to patch optimizations. It's not like settings were turned down or anything like that, the game just is running a bit better after this update. Sadly, despite the overall higher FPS, stutters are still occurring, and even occurring in the exact same locations as before the patch. The hitching or stuttering issue is certainly not resolved with this one, but it is a bit of a weird situation where, yeah, Xbox players, not even PC players, but just Xbox players, are now playing on a more updated version of the game that just gets more FPS. That same patch never came to PC or PS5. I have to imagine it's going to be coming at some point. It likely got rolled into a larger patch, the first real official patch that'll be coming for this game, hopefully coming later this week, but whenever it does come, I will have a video on it, so get subscribed for that. Because this game really does need patches on PC and PlayStation, and even more on Xbox. Digital Foundry described Oblivion Remastered on PC as one of the worst running games that specific reviewer had ever tested while working at Digital Foundry. Part of the problem being, this game just has issues regardless of platform. Digital Foundry was running the game on one of the best PCs.
Okay, so how?
Money could buy at 1080p, while someone with that PC is likely mostly playing at 4K, and yet they would still receive gigantic hitches in gameplay. And the hitches and stutters are definitely a much larger issue with a game like Oblivion, because a lot of the gameplay is just running around in the open world, experiencing what there is.
Stutters and lag are the issue. Low frames is annoying, but you kind of can get past that. 30 FPS is fine. I mean, it's not fine, don't get me wrong. 60 is the goal, and 60 plus is the goal. But, I mean, 30 FPS is at least playable. But stutters? Oh my god, that is the deal breaker. That is where you take the baby seal, put it here, you take the club, and you smack it a lot of times. That's a joke, YouTube. Relax. It's a joke. I don't have a baby seal. I should.
Defined. And as Digital Foundry concluded, there just isn't a fix right now. Even adjusting settings to their lowest, like they did here, your FPS will improve a ton, but those stutters and hitches will remain. And of course, the game looks awful while you stutter through it anyway.
Oh god, that's so painful. I don't want to play this game.
Basically, there is no fix right now. We would need an update to fix this stuttering issue. But if you're interested...
And Bethesda will literally never update that. You know when Bethesda is going to update the stutters? when someone makes a mod to save the stutters and stop the stutters, and then Bethesda's gonna be, oh, let's break the mod, let's update so there's no, and there's still stutters. That's what's gonna happen. Bethesda is a shitty clown show.
Digital Foundry does provide some graphic setting recommendations to maximize performance on PC, even despite the stuttering. I'll link to their video down below if you're interested. And it's not even like performance is the only issue facing this game right now, it definitely has problems beyond all of this. A variety of more minor bugs are around. Bethesda has been updating a bunch of their support articles with workarounds, and many obvious bugs will seemingly be patched in the first major update, which is a really good sign. But also, just as a whole, lighting system. But thankfully, more updates should be coming to Oblivion. Right now in Bethesda's Discord, they are actively
Oh, this looks actually good.
soliciting feedback and suggestions around this game, while also pointing users to submit tickets with issues. This is a Discord channel that is a bit complicated. Lots of mods from the original do work with this game. I have a video covering many of these. And while you can load Oblivion Remastered into an updated version of the creation kit, Oblivion's actual mod editor doesn't work, and as such, a lot is just restricted right now. Speaking with modders, many aspects of this game are currently obfuscated, and in turn, modding them is very difficult to impossible. Even just getting the game loaded into the SDK takes 6.
Okay, modding is currently not a deal. Okay. Anyway, that was Juicehead 10 out of 10. Bye.